Good morning or good evening or good afternoon, boys and girls, whichever time you're watching our video today. I'm glad you could join us. It's been almost a month since we've seen each other. Can you believe it? I miss y'all so much. But today's lesson is a language and a writing lesson, and it is about some words that we call adjectives. And you're probably thinking, Miss Hopper, what in the world are adjectives? And we have not talked about adjectives yet, but we have talked about some other kind of words that you do know, like nouns. Who remembers what a noun is? That's right. It's a person, a place, a thing, or an animal. And we've talked about verbs. Who remembers what a verb is? That's right. A verb is usually something that you can do. So today we're going to learn about some other kinds of words called adjectives. And just like these other words, nouns and verbs, adjectives we use in sentences. And so we're going to use them when we're writing, and we use them when we're talking. The good news is you probably already use a lot of adjectives in your writing and in your speaking. So you're just going to learn what kind of words we call adjectives and how to use them best, okay? So let's get started. We're going to look at our PowerPoint here on adjectives. An adjective will tell us more about a person, a place, sorry my PowerPoint's a little slow today, an animal, or a thing. So we recognize these, a person, a place, an animal, or a thing. Those are nouns. And so an adjective is going to tell us about these nouns, okay? They're going to describe the nouns. It's going to tell us more about the nouns. It gives us more information. An adjective answers the question, what kind? So if you're trying to find what the adjective is in the sentence, ask yourself, what kind? So let's look at this sentence. The small boy is walking. The small boy is walking. Small is our adjective. It tells me what kind of boy it is. It's a small boy. So it answers the question, what kind? Okay, here's our next sentence. This is a big farm. What kind of farm is it, boys and girls? That's right. It's a big farm. So the word big is our adjective because it tells us more about the noun farm. The brown cow was on the farm. What kind of cow is it, boys and girls? That's right. It's a brown cow. The word brown is the adjective in this sentence. It tells us more about the noun cow. This is a funny book. What kind of book, boys and girls? That's right, it's a funny book. The word funny is our adjective, and it describes the noun book. Now, some adjectives tell us about colors, and other adjectives can tell us about shapes. So let's have a look at some of these kind of adjectives. Oh my goodness, look at that kitten. Let's look at this. Did you see the gray kitten? Boys and girls, what color is the kitten? That's right, gray. So color words can be adjectives because they're describing the nouns. They're telling us more about this kitten. The next one we have here is, I love red strawberries. I think my dog's in the video. Sorry about that. I love red strawberries. What color are the strawberries? That's right, they are red. So the word red tells us about the strawberries. Let's look at this. Did you see my yellow duck? What color is the duck, boys and girls? That's right, it's yellow. Yellow tells us more about this duck. Now here's one that's going to talk about shape. The round sun is in the sky. What shape is the sun in this sentence? That's right, it is round. The word round tells us about the sun. Here we have a bag of food. The food is in a square bag. And so I can ask you, what shape is that bag? The front of the bag is kind of like a square or a rectangle, so we can say that the adjective is the word square. Now, other adjectives will tell us about size, how big or how small something is, or how tall or how short something is. So let's look at this one. This is a small bunny. What size is the bunny? That's right, it's a small bunny. So the word small tells me about that noun. Ooh, let's look at this T-Rex. T-Rex has a short neck. What size is his neck? Short. It's a short neck. So short is our adjective. And if you're noticing this, boys and girls, adjectives usually, when we're writing in, or talking in English, come in front of the noun. It tells us what kind, and then it tells us the noun. Let's look at the next one. T-Rex has big legs. What size are his legs? That's right, they are big legs. T-Rex has a long tail. What size is his tail? That's right, it's a long tail. It tells me the size of the tail. Long is the adjective, tail is our noun. T-Rex has a huge head. What size is his head? That's right, it is huge. A huge head. Huge is our adjective. It tells us about the noun head. Now other adjectives can tell us about number, how many of something there is. So here we have some pictures. I see 6 birds in a tree. How many birds in a tree, boys and girls, in this sentence? 6. The word 6 is being an adjective here because it's telling me how many birds are in the tree. Let's look at this sentence. 4 birds are in the little bird bath. Now, how many birds are in the bird bath? 4. There's another adjective here. Little is also an adjective because it's telling us about this bird bath. It's telling us what size that bird bath is. Do you hear 3 birds? How many birds, boys and girls? That's right, 3 birds. The word 3 is being an adjective here. I only hear 1 bird. How many birds did that person hear? That's right, they only heard 1. So this is an adjective for how many birds. Using adjectives when you're writing will help make you a super writer. Adjectives are something that you can kind of sprinkle into your sentences to make them a lot more interesting. Think of them like sprinkles on a cake. Isn't a cake a much more fun cake if it has sprinkles on the top? Your sentences will be a lot more interesting and more fun if you tell us about the nouns that you are using. So now, boys and girls, we're going to jump over here and we're going to think about, I'm going to show you some nouns, I'm going to show you some objects, and we are going to describe them, okay? So we're going to start with color. So I'm going to show you some things, and we're going to talk about the color. So we're going to start with this. This is a folder. What color is the folder? That's right, it's red. So this is a red folder. The word red is our adjective. So we're going to write that down. Red folder. Now what is our adjective in this phrase? That's right, it's the word red. Okay, I guess my thing's going to start showing to do nothing. It's the color red. All right, let's look at another one. Here is a bar of soap. What color is this package? That's right, it's green. And if I open this up, the soap inside is actually green also. So we could say this is green soap. What is the adjective? That's right, it's the word green. Okay, let's look at something else. Let's look at this marker. What color is this marker? That's right, it's blue. So this is a blue marker. Blue marker. And what's the adjective? That's right, it's blue. And let's look at one more. Let's have a look at this dragon. Y'all see this dragon? What color is this dragon? That's right, he's gray. So he is a gray dragon. And what is the adjective in that phrase? That's right, it's gray. So you see, these color words are telling me about these nouns. They're coming in front of the noun. So if I was going to use them in a sentence, I could say, I have a red folder, instead of just saying, I have a folder. It It gives a little more information. So let's move on to shape. Okay, so we're going to do some things with shape. How many of you have a light switch in your house? Look at the light switch now in your house. What shape is your light switch? That's right. It's like a rectangle, right? So we call that rectangular. And so we're going to say it's a rectangular switch. Sometimes I have to sound out big words like this. Rectangular switch. Uh-oh, about to run out of room. Rectangular switch. So what shape was that? That's right, it's rectangular. That's an adjective. It tells me about the light switch in my house. Okay, let's look at something else. Let's have a look at this. Look at this. I'll call this an orb. What shape in general is this orb? That's right, it's round. And so we will call this a round orb. And the adjective is round. It tells me the shape of the orb. Okay? Let's think about a cloud. You can go outside. You can pause right now. Go outside. Look at a cloud. Come back. A cloud, I call them fluffy. Have you seen a fluffy cloud? And so the adjective is fluffy. I consider that kind of a shape. Fluffy cloud. Okay, it tells me about the cloud. The adjective is fluffy. Okay? And let's think about a road. Have you ever been on a road that's really curvy? Yes, me too. Curvy. So that word curvy is an adjective that can tell me about the road. And so we'll call that a curvy road. Oh, look, boys and girls, there's that O, long O, O-A, that we learned about on Monday. So the road, we call it curvy. So these are some shape adjectives that can tell us about the road. So instead of saying I drove on a road, I could say I drove on a curvy road. All right, let's move to size. Now size means how big or small, how tall or short, how long or short something is. Okay, so let's think about this easel. Okay, think about our easel here. I would probably say this is a large easel because it's pretty big. It's, you know, it's almost as tall as Miss Hopper. So I would say this is a large easel. The word large is our adjective. A large easel. Large tells me the size of the easel. Okay? I have a dog. And my dog, I have two dogs actually, and they are small dogs. Okay? You have a small dog? Have you seen a small dog? So I could say small dog, and small is going to tell about the size of the dog. So we would say small dog. Small is the size of the dog. All right, let's think about a man. How many of you have ever seen a really tall basketball player? They're really tall, aren't they? So I'm going to say tall is an adjective that can describe a person. So I could say a tall person. And the word tall is our adjective. It tells me about the person. All right, how many of you have ever seen a little short tree? When you just plant a tree, it's kind of short, right? So I could say a short tree. And the word short tells me about the tree. A short tree. And as you can see here, again, the adjectives are coming in front of the noun. Let's look over here. Our last one we're going to look at today is number, like how many of something there are, okay? I don't know if you can see this or not, but over here, there are 3 guitars. And so 3 tells me about how many guitars there are. So there are 3 guitars. And so I would write 3 guitars. Three guitars. All right, let's think about kids in our class. How many kids are in our class? That's right, 20. So I could say 20 kids. 20 tells me about how many kids I have. Look over here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 picture frames sitting on my cabinet here. So I can say 5 frames. 5 adjective for friend. It tells me about the frames. And the last one, how many TVs do I have here? I've got one TV. One TV. And one tells me about the TV. All right, boys and girls, these are just certain types of adjectives. We're going to talk about adjectives again next week, okay? But these adjectives tell about color, they tell about shape, they tell about size, they tell about number. I want to send your parents a link to another great video by Schoolhouse Rock about adjectives and a link for a sheet for you to practice. But remember, adjectives tell us more about nouns. Please excuse my dog, they're not happy.